What's going on, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers? It's your only friend, these YouTube streets, PorterLock77, back with another video. I know it's been a while since I uploaded some content, but I'm here now just to talk about two quick PlayStation-related subjects. And while you're here, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe. And if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button, all right? So to hit the two contents, number one, we'll start off with The Last of Us delay. All right, so recently, Naughty Dog made an official announcement that the game is delayed till late May for their new release date. When recently, maybe about, 3-4 weeks ago, give or take, they originally announced a February 28th release date during their press announcement. Now, it's kind of weird because that's probably the fastest announced delay I have ever seen when a developer talks about their games. But in an official press release by Neil Druckmann, he stated that certain levels of the game doesn't have the level of polish that they expect from themselves, so the delay will allow them to polish these levels so that way the game meets the standard that they set for themselves and that the industry and gamers expect from them. I have no issues with it. It's about 3 months, February, March, April, May. So it's a 3-month delay, not a big deal, to get a better quality product. And officially, that's it, and that's all it really is, right? But I'm going to add my 2 cents, and this is just my opinion, my perspective. There's certain other things that potentially could have, and again, this is from my perspective only, that could have also added to this decision. Number one is Final Fantasy VII Remake. It releases March 3rd, which is the week after The Last of Us 2. Now, not trying to say that The Last of Us 2 should be threatened by Final Fantasy Remake or anything like that, or one game's better than the other, or that, this game will get crushed. It's not even about that, all right? Right now, officially, Final Fantasy VII Remake is only being released on the PlayStation 4 platform. Could it eventually end up on Xbox and PC since it is a Square Enix published game? Yes, there is potential that maybe a year from now that is just a time exclusive. But right here, right now, on March 3rd, it is only being released on PlayStation 4. So it is advantageous for Sony to have that game sell as much as possible. With The Last of Us 2 releasing the week prior, it could hurt sales for Final Fantasy VII, as well as The Last of Us 2 sales could also take a hit because of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Those two games, back to back, could potentially hurt sales, or maybe the word hurt sales is bad. Maybe prevent them from maximizing the sales potential those games can get from first week, launch sales. Either way, it's not whichever game beats out whatever, Sony ends the one that ends up losing. The reality is Sony wants the best possible sales for The Last of Us 2. Sony also wants the best possible sales for Final Fantasy VII Remake. They want both games to sell amazingly well, okay? Regardless of when the games come out, the diehard Last of Us 2 fans and the diehard Final Fantasy VII Remake fans, they're gonna buy the game whenever it comes out. Whether it's right next to The Last of Us, whatever, the fans of those particular games will buy those games day one, right? But the question is, what about the fans of both games, but they're only gonna buy one, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Sony is maximizing the time and space to separate those two games to allow both gamers who like both games be able to purchase both games by keeping a nice separate distance. It's advantageous for that. Either way, whenever The Last of Us releases, we're going to buy the game. So whether it comes out in February or it comes out in May, we're going to buy it, So I could say that might be a factor. Another factor, and I ain't going to say it's just something to think about, is the multiplayer. I know they're hard at work on the multiplayer, but they made no announcements of when it's coming out. Could there be potential that the multiplayer at this point in time might be ready in May? So now they figure, well, since the multiplayer component is going to be ready in May, then we might as well just launch both at the same time, just so that way they can avoid any negative criticisms, any potential negative criticisms and outrage of The Last of Us 2 launching without the multiplayer. It's going to happen, regardless. And there's going to be people who say, oh, it's fake outrage, true outrage, everything in between. No matter what, somebody's going to start spreading negative news about The Last of Us 2 not launching with multiplayer. It's going to happen, all right? Maybe Sony and Naughty Dog do not want that level of baggage associated with their game. Because before that, there's not much baggage, these games, especially the last couple of games, The Last of Us, the first one, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 3, there's not a lot of negative baggage associated. Sure, there's people with levels of opinion on which game's better than which, stuff like that. But overall, Naughty Dog has consistently been producing 90 plus Metacritic bangers that are Game of the Year caliber titles. So they're used to releasing the cream of the crop. You know what I mean? They probably don't want baggage associated with The Last of Us 2. But that's just speculation, So there's potential the game got delayed to meet the timeline for the multiplayer. Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? But in the end, the absolute fact is the game is delayed till May. And the official statement Naughty Dog released is to polish the game. So as far as official factual information, the game's delayed for polish. Everything else I mentioned is just simple speculation. It's just conversation points. That's all it really is, all right? The second thing I want to talk about is Days Gone. Well, not really Days Gone, but Sony Bend, the studio that made Days Gone, they're already hiring people for their next project. So the question is, what is their next project? The majority of the consensus most gamers are thinking about is a Days Gone sequel, right? Which logically makes sense because the game was sold a lot. According to MPD, I think it was the 8th best-selling exclusive title. So the top 10 exclusives for PlayStation, it already jumped to number 8. I think it was number 8 or number 6, something like that. It's in the top 10, right? Which is pretty impressive given how recent the game came out. But here's my question. This is my thought. Do I want them to immediately jump onto a Days Gone sequel? And for me personally, I say no. I don't want them to immediately jump into a Days Gone sequel. Now hear me out why. Days Gone, of course, a Days Gone sequel, they could provide lots of improvements. Some of the things that people complained about, they could make a much better sequel, right? But I don't want Sony Bend to be a Days Gone studio. You know what I mean? I don't want them to be these are the Days Gone studio. What I would like to see from them is, you made Days Gone, you got your big IP, okay, got it. Sure, it could be better, whatever. I mean, whatever improvements they could do that. But what I would like to see Sony Bend do is either bring back a classic IP, Siphon Filter, not a remake or remaster, but stay in that universe brand new, or create a brand new IP. Something totally new, something totally different, right? So release a new IP, so that way you're not the Days Gone studio. You have another new IP, right? And through knowledge, through working, through expertise, through all that stuff, that they go through working on this new IP, they may have some new ideas, some new concepts, whatever. They take a break from Days Gone, you know what I mean? And then when they go back to Days Gone 2, they go in with a fresh set of eyes. Because my main concern is that going from Days Gone to Days Gone 2, they're immediately jumping on board and they're looking at the negatives, they're looking at the positives, they're rushing into it. Take a step back. Work on a totally new IP. That way you're not fatigued with artistic ideas, you know what I'm saying? Come up with a new IP, a new big AAA IP. Believe me, PlayStation Nation will welcome a new big ID. It's not like we're not going to get Days Gone 2. We're going to get it. But let's not have Sony Bend start out as the Days Gone studio. Let them go right into a new IP, bring out a new fresh concept, a new idea that we get to enjoy. After they're done with that new IP, they go back to Days Gone 2 now. A bigger window, you understand? So the time frame between Days Gone and Days Gone 2 is much bigger, maybe 3, 4, 5 years window because there was an IP in the middle. And then they just leapfrog back to back. Days Gone 2 and then the sequel for the other IP. Days Gone 3 and then the sequel for the other IP. And then at that point they get to decide, okay, which one got to go because we're going to make another new IP. You understand what I'm saying? Fresh ideas, fresh set of eyes. The studio doesn't get fatigued on just Days Gone, Days Gone, Days Gone. I think they'll be happier. I think we PlayStation gamers will appreciate that. And Sony Bend will be a gaming studio, not a Days Gone studio. But let me know what you think. This is your boy Porter Rock 77, your only friend is YouTube Streets. Hit the like button. Don't forget to comment, all right? I'll check you guys out another time with some different perspectives on different news articles. Until then, you guys take care. Peace.